Why did God choose Ezekiel? The dark secrets behind the visions. 1. The hook, the prophet of the bizarre. Most prophets got a burning bush or a gentle whisper. Ezekiel got a cosmic horror show. We're talking about a man who saw wheels made of eyes, ate a scroll that tasted like honey, and was commanded to lie on his side for 390 days straight to bear the sins of a nation. Why him? Out of all the captives in Babylon, why did God choose a 30-year-old priest to witness the most terrifying, psychedelic, and high-stakes visions in human history? Today, we're going beyond the Sunday school version of Ezekiel. We're uncovering the psychological grit, the priestly DNA, and the top-secret reason why God needed a man who was willing to lose everything, including his wife, to send a message to a dying world. This isn't just a Bible story, it's a masterclass in extreme obedience. 2. The anatomy, the priest who lost his temple. To understand the why, you have to understand the when. Ezekiel was a priest in training. At age 30, he was supposed to start his dream job at the temple in Jerusalem. Instead, he was a refugee in a mud brick camp by the Chebar River in Babylon. Here's the secret: God chose Ezekiel because he was a priest. He knew the law, he knew the holiness code, and he knew exactly what was missing. God didn't want a politician, he wanted someone who felt the physical ache of the missing Shekinah glory. By choosing a priest in a land of idols, God was saying, I don't need a building to be God, I need a man who carries the temple inside him. 3. The psychology, the human sign. This is where it gets gritty. Why did God put Ezekiel through such theatrical torture? God chose Ezekiel because he had the mental toughness to be a living, breathing billboard. While other prophets spoke words, Ezekiel was the word. Think about it, he stayed mute for years, only speaking when God opened his mouth. He lived out the siege of Jerusalem in his own body. God chose him because Ezekiel didn't care about his reputation. He was the ultimate method actor for the divine. He was chosen because he was hardened. God literally told him, I have made your forehead like the hardest stone, harder than flint. He needed a man who could stand against a rebellious house and not blink. 4. The vision, the wheels and the chariot. Now let's talk about the UFO in the room, the chariot vision. Why show this to Ezekiel? Because in Babylon the gods were fixed. They stayed in their temples, but Ezekiel saw a God with wheels. This vision proved that God wasn't trapped in a destroyed Jerusalem. He was mobile. He was omnipresent. He followed his people into exile. Ezekiel was chosen because he could handle the quantum reality of God, the fact that God is moving even when everything looks dead. 5. The ultimate test, the silent grief. This is the part most creators skip because it's too heavy. God told Ezekiel, I am taking away the delight of your eyes, his wife, and commanded him not to weep. Why such a cruel command? Because Ezekiel's personal tragedy was a mirror of God's tragedy, the loss of his bride, Israel. Ezekiel was chosen because he was the only one who could handle the weight of God's own grief. He became the watchman who didn't just see the danger, he felt the cost. 6. The conclusion, the valley of hope. God didn't choose Ezekiel just to show him nightmares. He chose him to show the world the greatest comeback in history, the valley of dry bones. God chose a man at his absolute breaking point to prove that nothing is too dead for the breath of God. Ezekiel's life was a chaotic, terrifying, and lonely journey. But because he said yes to the madness, he became the architect of hope for every person who feels like they are in a dry valley. Now I want to hear from you. 1. Which of Ezekiel's strange acts do you find the most shocking? 2. Do you think God still uses living signs today? Drop a comment. I respond to the most mind-bending ones. If you want more deep dives into the dark side of the prophets, hit like and subscribe. Next week, we are looking at the book of Enoch and why it was taken out of the Bible. You don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay bold. See you in the next one.